Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And the group stage of this competition is coming to a close with the four finalists soon to be determined. And in the last few days and in the days to come, we'll be seeing some vital encounters to go further in determining those four sides in the semi-finals. And today and yesterday we saw two influential games in Group 2 between India and Bangladesh and Pakistan and South Africa. India won that rain-affected game yesterday by 5 runs. Now, I thought that in that 19th over, if a top order or middle order batsman from Bangladesh had faced the majority of that 19th over, I thought they could have got a lot more runs than they did. I didn't think that over was the greatest by any means, and especially the last two deliveries were slot balls. And had Nurul Hassan been on strike for the majority of that over, or any other Bangladesh top order or middle order batsman, then they could have got more runs off those last two deliveries, and they got 0 in the end from those two deliveries, and that would have changed the outcome of the game. So I think India was slightly lucky in that regard, but apart from that, they did deserve to win the game. I thought the first 7 overs of the second innings was a stage where I didn't think India would have been thinking the victory is in jeopardy, but they still wouldn't have liked the fact that Liton Das was attacking their bowlers. He scored a brilliant half-century, 60 off 27 balls, and when he was dismissed via that direct hit from KL Rahul, who also scored a brilliant 50, I think that that was pretty much, you could say, the turning point in the game. And it was unsurprising that the rest of the players, maybe apart from Nurul Hassan, could not really get anywhere near that kind of momentum. And I thought Bangladesh, considering that, did very well to get close in the end. But they would be very disappointed because 85 off 9 overs, and with a wet outfield, you'd say it was favouring the batting side, and Shakib Al Hasan did say that as well. So I thought they would have been very disappointed to not get over the line in that game from the position that they were in, but still a very good win for India. After being put under pressure for the first 7 overs, the team showed character and won the game in the end. And now for the Pakistan-South Africa game, I'm actually quite surprised that Pakistan managed to win this game. You'd have seen me in my previous videos doubting whether they would stand any chance against South Africa, but I think when they were 43 for 4, I wasn't surprised. I thought that's how I expected their batting effort to go. But Mohammad Nawaz, Iftikhar Ahmed and Shadab Khan scripted a brilliant recovery. Mohammad Nawaz helping them get to that 95 mark, and then Iftikhar Ahmed and Shadab Khan putting on a show to get Pakistan to 185 for 9, a more than competitive total, and especially with a bowling attack that only looks better with Mohammad Wasim in the side. And from the time when their bowlers were going for runs in that last phase in the first innings and throughout the second innings, South Africa were not in the game by any means. They will pretty much only take one positive from the batting effort, and that's that Temba Bavuma scored runs. And it was a hugely contrasting innings from what we've seen in his last few innings, where I think the innings against India was the first time he reached double digits in his previous kind of few innings. But this innings, he was quite dominant, especially against Haris Rauf, 36 off 19 balls. And I think it is hugely important for South Africa that they've got this contribution from him today. I mean, will it stand him in good stead in the upcoming games? Who knows? But I'm saying that at least they've got that contribution today because, as I said in the India versus South Africa review, one thing that could hurt South Africa is that, yes, you've got Quinton de Kock, Riley Rousseau, Aidan Markram and David Miller. Now, that's a 4 that can destroy any lineup, especially in their current guise. And Heinrich Klaasen is more than capable as well, as we have seen, I think, a couple of times against India. However, with Bavuma not scoring runs and Tristan Stubbs, who, as I said in that video, hasn't exactly set the world alight in terms of averages, and with a lack of batting depth as well, where once again you saw Wayne Parnell on the side, walking out to bat at number 7, which does not give anywhere near as much assurance as the number 7s of other sides. then that did look a bit of a spot that South Africa could be vulnerable in. And I think today you saw where, yes, by the end, the game got away from them quite a bit. But I think with Wayne Parnell at number 7, there was huge pressure on Tristan Stubbs to do almost the impossible, and that didn't happen. So that was something that could have affected them, and the fact that Bavuma has scored runs today will give them kind of, I wouldn't say complete confidence, but they'll think that if he does do this in the next few games, it would be very good for South Africa because, as I said, they do have that weakness. But David Miller will be back, I think, in the next few games. I hope he is back, and then in that case, with him in that middle order, then that core of that I was talking about with the batting core will look very imposing. And that was on South Africa's game today. Look, I think in terms of who I want to get into the semi-finals, it's not that I don't want Pakistan to get into the semi-finals. It's just the fact that, despite the fact that they played brilliantly today, I think when we look, the case with 3 teams competing for 2 spots, which is the case in this group and that group, I think there is always that one lifeline allowed. What you could, let's say if 3 teams finish on 4 wins and 1 loss, and then it gets decided on the net run rate. As long as the side that loses that one game is able to win the other 4 games and also focus on their net run rate enough to get them into that top 2, then I think that lifeline can still be allowed. Now, I think the only way, though, if that South Africa versus Netherlands game is played, I do not see the Netherlands getting a result out of that, which Pakistan would not like. So, I think that the only way that they could get a result from that game is if the game is washed out due to rain, and it would be hugely disappointing for South Africa because they've already had a game washed out against Zimbabwe, which they were very close to winning. And because you've got 1 point taken out of 2 games, it effectively equals another loss, which I think is hugely unfair. So it's not like I don't want Pakistan to qualify. I'm just saying Pakistan have lost those 2 games. South Africa have kind of had that one lifeline, which was this game. And it would be very cruel if they kind of were to miss out on that top 2 finish because of something that wasn't in their control. But on Pakistan, I mean, they are hoping, of course, and this game they were magnificent. I did not think they'd score 185 for 9, especially after what happened in the game against Zimbabwe, for example. I thought their batting against an attack like this would struggle massively, and I was proved right when it was 43 for 4, but I did not see this kind of a comeback coming. So, yeah, a magnificent win for Pakistan today, and their net run rate now is in a very healthy position, meaning that both India and South Africa have to get... For India, I think even if the game's rained off, it's fine for them. But South Africa, they pretty much have to get a result against the Netherlands, which I think both those teams, if the games are played, will get a result against both their opposition respectively. So despite the fact that Pakistan have played very well today, they probably won't qualify for the top 2. But I think beating South Africa in this way was a huge statement. And yeah, that's on those 2. And tomorrow, I think there are 2 games, Ireland versus New Zealand and Australia versus Afghanistan. Both those games are taking place in Adelaide. And as we saw in the second innings of the India-Bangladesh game, if it plays anywhere and kind of any way like that, then you could say things will ease out in the second innings. Although I think in Australia's case, they will probably be looking to bat first and bat Afghanistan out of the game and get an above 100-run win, you'd think. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do bat first in their game, and that is probably the way to go. I think New Zealand will get the job done against Ireland, so that will be their first place secured. And for Australia, their net run rate now is minus 3.04. And so they have to probably beat Afghanistan by a huge amount. So unfortunately for Afghanistan, they will probably get a bit of a thrashing for a lifetime. And I think Australia will be going all guns blazing, looking to bat first preferably. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to get a huge win because of that net run rate, as I said. And if England beat Sri Lanka, which I think they will, that will kind of only increase. So they have a huge task in front of them, and tomorrow's game I think will be a very good game to watch because of what Australia have to do. And I think in terms of the semi-finals, who I think will reach the semi-finals, I think New Zealand will finish first in their group with England in second in Group 1. And in Group 2, I think it'll be India in first and South Africa in second. Now, I think that's actually a preferable scenario for both teams. I thought, well, if India play against England in Adelaide, I actually think it suits India quite a lot. And I think if South Africa play against New Zealand, I think they are capable of demolishing sides in these conditions on their day. And I think against New Zealand, it would be much easier for them to do that in that fashion. So if that goes to plan, then it's the final that I've been saying I think will happen from the start of the competition, and a final that I'll be very happy will be taking place. And that is, in my view, the best two teams from this competition, and that would be India and South Africa. And as I've said, I think it would be hugely disappointing if that game against the Netherlands for South Africa gets rained off, because I think every team, you can count that one lifeline, and I think with their lifeline being in today's game, I think they'll get the job done against Netherlands if that game is played, and they should qualify. So that's my predictions for the four semi-finalists, and I actually think it's the best chance for India and South Africa to reach the finals. A finals that I've wanted to happen from the very start. And so yeah, that's on these two games, and also what I think will happen in the semi-finals. Tomorrow's game will be a brilliant game to watch. I think New Zealand will get the job done against Ireland, but Australia will be going out all guns blazing against Afghanistan, so let's see how that goes. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, please share it with your friends, and remember, this is my opinion, what's yours? I forgot to mention Bangladesh in terms of their semi-final chances, and if the Netherlands-South Africa game gets rained off, that means that both Pakistan and Bangladesh will play a game where the winner will go into that second place spot. And if Bangladesh do beat Pakistan, then that means, looking at what they've done in this group stage as a whole, they've lost the games which you'd think they would be most likely to lose, and that's against South Africa and India. Pakistan would not be an easy opposition for them, and especially after what they've done in today's game. But if they do manage to beat Pakistan, which they do have a very good bowling attack themselves, I think that overall they would be very deserving of going through in second place. And yeah, I think that if Bangladesh do beat Pakistan, then it will be a great story for them as well, especially qualifying for a semi-final in a world event where this format is not their strongest by any means, probably one of their weakest in terms of between T20s and tests, and especially in the part of the world that they are playing as well. I think no one could have foreseen that kind of an outcome. So if Bangladesh do get through, it will be a great moment for them, but let's see how that goes, of course. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, please share this video with your friends, remember, this is my opinion, what's yours?